moving forward, we have Group Captain Yugandhar with us, the DG of AAIB, a serving Group Captain who's right now been from 2022 onwards, been with as DG AAIB. He's known as more of a cockpit person, as a flight engineer who's flown more than 1,000 hours all across the continent, sir, and also in the UN mission. Apart from that, he's a great maintenance man. His schemes of repair and overall on helicopters, which have been flying in India of Russian origin as well as of American origin, has been formalized by CIVILAC as official repair schemes. His repair schemes have become manuals, and manuals have now transcended to all the field work so that the maintenance can happen in a very convenient manner. We do not have anyone else better than him to point a finger at the safety status of helicopter civil aviation. So I invite him to give his talk on the helicopter accident analysis and preventive measures taken. Yugandhar, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I request CMD Pawan Hans to come forward, sir. Please come, sir. As a child, I always dreamt that I should vertically take off and fly like a bird. It is the desire and dream of many children. I am one amongst them. I was lucky that I have joined Indian Air Force and I got all my aspirations fulfilled. The faculty at the Training Institute have taught us fixed wing aerodynamics thoroughly, and it was taught very easily. And we used to do a lot of problems on lift, drag, stability, control, and all those things. But after several classes, the mystery of helicopter was never revealed. And that has motivated me to ask for a choice of helicopters. When we asked for the choice, the Peace Staff officer who was posted there in our training center, for other people who do not know what is Peace Staff is, the HR man who decides about our careers and postings and all. He has counseled us, and he listened to my request, and he has granted my choice. That is how I came into the helicopters. Anyhow, I never wanted to show the slide on the occurrences of helicopters or the accidents in helicopters and their preventive measures in the first slide, because helicopters are the safest platform, contrary to anybody's thinking. Even if the engines fail, we can land auto-rotate. We can select a field and land wherever we want. But we should not succumb to any pressures from the beginning. Whether to take off or during the flying, anytime, the decisions have to be taken very quickly and consciously. Then the helicopter is the most safest. Even single engine helicopter is also the safest aircraft compared to any of the twin engine helicopters. Air Force alone flies 40,000 hours safe flying. We fly in base camp, we fly in Siachen Glacier, all single engine helicopters. Safely we fly them. So single engine helicopter, the perception of unsafe is to be removed. It is the safest aircraft. Now, coming to the main topic, I will cover the accidents which have been investigated by AAIB, that is Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, which is an attached office under Ministry of Civil Aviation since 2012 to 2022. It was a study given by our secretary to know why more helicopter accidents take place world over, also in India. So those 10 years period, I have taken an international comparison, global offshore helicopter accidents. In the same period, there were a certain number of investigations which were carried out. I compared with the offshore industry because the civil flying in India is as comparatively tough and as comparatively peculiar to the offshore flying. Then we have given the category of accidents to know what are the reasons why these accidents are happening. And then we have analyzed these accidents, and then we instituted the preventive measures. As a first step, Ministry of Civil Aviation has already constituted a team to look into these matters, and we are acting on that. The crashes, many of us are aware of it. We have lost chief ministers. We have lost the Speaker of Lok Sabha. Many industrialists, movie actors, and officials. So during our presentation recently at Parliament Bhavan, the ministry, that is the parliamentary committee also expressed their concern when I was briefing about the AAIB, why the helicopter accidents are more. So this is what is the perception everyone has got. I will explain why they are more and what are the peculiarities and how we can arrest them. I am not saying, I am not justifying why they are happening. And this is going to increase further with the proliferation of eVTOLs. We are going to have, again, small helicopter kind of a thing, which are operating all over the country. Here, the psyche of pilot need to be looked into seriously to get the confidence of passengers to fly in these aircraft. We have to instill the confidence in the population. There were total 25 accidents which were investigated in India, in civil, during the period of 2012 to 2022, that is 10 years period. At the same time, 60 accidents were investigated globally in the offshore platform. In that study, we were not aware whether the offshore accidents of India were considered or not, because the study has not revealed about it. So now, we have also given the reasons why these various accidents have happened. We will dwell those things in detail when we go into further slides. Predominantly, the CFIT, loss of control, and failure of equipment lead to 2/3 of the accidents. In these 2/3, all the three can be definitely arrested. They are all within our control. When we compare to the fatal accidents, out of the 25 accidents which we investigated in India, 13 of them were fatal. In these 13 fatal accidents, we had 5 CFITs and 4 loss of controls. It is almost similar to what is happening all over the world. But CFITs are found to be higher as compared to the world standards. Now, yearly, if you take the number of accidents which have happened in India, the year-wise accidents are shown. Initially, our study was aimed at Pawanhans. Hence, the Pawanhans is shown in the red bar and others in the blue bar. So again, the fatal accidents which have happened in India, the Pawanhans are shown in red bar and blue bar is for the other accident which have happened in India. There was a decreasing trend in 2018 because certain measures were taken by Pawanhans and other operators also in the quantifiable audit system to reduce the number of accidents. Strict in-house implementation of DGCA regulations. This is where I would like to mention, I carry out so many investigations and a lot of reports come to me. When we finally come to the recommendations, all the rules and regulations are available by the book, issued by the DGCA. What else we can talk about it? The rules are available and people are flouting the rules. So why they are flouting? It's not only for helicopters, I'm talking about other FTOs and other cases where we are doing the investigations. So strict implementation of DGCA regulations also will reduce a lot of accidents. And procedural methods to safety and risk analysis and mitigations have been implemented. Op discipline, of course, it doesn't require any emphasis. These are all the areas which they have worked out and the number of occurrences have reduced. Because the number of occurrences also make a lot of difference. Out of 3,000 occurrences, if the actions are not taken, then it will lead to an accident. So hence, reporting of occurrences and acting on those recommendations are also very important to prevent the accidents. And this chart summarizes the entire accidents in India and global offshore. These 25 accidents which I mentioned earlier total, and 13 of them are the fatal, and out of 60 in global, 25 of them were fatal. If you see the figures, power plant failure in case of India, none of them have reported, whereas 2 have happened in the global scenario. The accident rate, the global study shows that for helicopters it is 3.1, that is per million flying hours. And similarly for million flying sectors, it is found as 1.5. Globally, the fixed wing accident rate is 0.2 per million sector. It looks little 7 times higher as compared to the fixed wing because the peculiarities are different. There is no doubt. There is always a scope for improving the safety in helicopters. Similar kind of analysis we could not do in case of India because the historical data of number of helicopters registered in civil, operator-wise, and the fleet-wise they are not available with us. So we have given a recommendation to DGCA that this kind of record is also to be maintained. It's not only for statistical purposes, the analysis will make us give recommendations to prevent such type of accidents in future. So these are all few pictures out of these fatal accidents, one at Mumbai High, one in the Uttarakhand at religious places, and recent Uttarakhand again accident, luckily no fatalities have happened, but we lost the helicopter. And again, if you look at out of these 25 accidents which were reported, 18 of them are either in the hills or in the offshore. Only 7 of them have happened in the plains. Even though 7, there were reasons, one in Chhattisgarh, one in Mumbai, and one in plains of J&K. Okay, so, and other areas like in Maharashtra also we had one accident. So 18 of them, I consider the degree of difficulty is similar when compared to the valley flying and also in the offshore. The analysis of fatal accident again brings out that the controlled flight into terrain, where there is no excuse, there were 5 of them and loss of control were 4. One of them we lost due to bird strike and cable engagement. There were freak cases. And similarly, we had lost one aircraft where the pilot was trying to rescue himself actually. The mob was coming to the aircraft, so he has taken off quickly and he went to the hill. So the recommendations we have given, and that recommendation also I will discuss in detail later. The prominent crashes, as I was mentioning, 4 have happened in Uttarakhand, the religious tourism, and 3 at ONGC, and 7 in Northeast, Godhra, Mumbai, and Chhattisgarh. 2 each aircraft we have lost during the valley operations, flood relief operations, 2013 and 2019. Here, a very dangerous mix is there. The valley, weather, and X factor to save the people. The offshore flying, as I was mentioning, is similar to the valley and weather difficulty and complications. So before going to the recommendations and analysis, I just would like to quote some examples which are very common, and we have seen it in Air Force. In Air Force, we had about 10 fatal accidents in 2001. The system has come down heavily on us, because it's not that the people are unsafe, because the situations were like that and people were large-hearted and people were trying to help out. And later the SOPs were made so stringent and so strict, which are good actually, which has reduced the number of accidents. And some examples I will quote which are always true, which are to be repeated so that the complacency doesn't set in. We have to keep always ground in contact. Some examples I will give. Okay. So when we were flying from Jorhat to Dibrugarh in the night, suddenly there was a downpour. A simple call, captain said that we are lowering, going, nap of the earth flying. We are following the riverbed. In case of an emergency, we will land on the riverbed. Very simple call. And then, after seeing the TV tower of Dibrugarh, and we just climbed up and reached the level. So these type of calls we have to take whenever we get into the situation. Next is system knowledge. The crew should have a thorough system knowledge. I will give one example where, especially all of them in valley, we were flying in a place called along in Arunachal Pradesh. We were about to come for a landing, and in civil people understand it as a cabin crew, in case we call it as a flight gunner. He reported that there was a seepage of oil from the ceiling. And the scanning shows that the gearbox temperature, engine temperature, they were all normal. And we found the pneumatic pressure was reading 0. And simply we thought that could be the gear-mounted pressure pump for the pneumatic system would have failed and leading to the leak of oil. And because of which we have not created any panic, and the co-pilot who was going through the map regularly and going through the ground features, he has given a emergency landing village, King village, and if everything is fine, he said that we can go ahead, land it along. So we landed it along, and we found that the same gearbox mounted pump has failed, which has led to the oil leak. So what I mean to say is, it is typical to the pilots landing A320 safely on Hudson River. Nobody has taught them. This particular issue was not taught to us in any of our training centers. It is because of the system knowledge, the entire crew have taken a decision like that. And do not delay your landing in case of emergency. There is a particular accident in the principles of AAIB. We do not quote the names and the type of aircraft and all. where the ATC has given clearance when the onboard emergency was declared by the crew. But the crew have delayed their landing by 20 minutes. He was giving access for the on-ground transport aircraft to take off from that place to another place. If he further delays, he may have to switch off and has to take the refueling. So he has given all the leeway to the transport aircraft. And he was giving call to the ground crew to get the towing bar and the tractor so that after crash landing, the aircraft can be taken away from the runway. Why should be worried? You are an emergency, you go and land. So these are all the kind of things we have to take call immediately. We have to maintain cool composure when emergency comes up. There was an instance in Air Force again, where they were flying in valley and both the engines went down. That means both the engines have switched off. So the engineer has declared that both the engines went down. With a little pause, the captain said that we will relight. Because the fuel is available, pumps are functioning, everything is green. What is wrong? Kudos to the chap, that cool composure, no panic, restarted the engines, both the engines got related. Otherwise, the history would have been different. Similarly, we have one instance where we dropped the Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh in a place called Vijayanagar, and the district administration was really in panic. A lot of VIPs were there, and they came to the captain and said that we don't have any accommodation for you, and you guys have to go back. We said that we don't have any interest to stay here, and we have planned to go back. We just took off. Within 2-3 minutes, a dark cloud wall was coming towards us. Actually, we were not flying towards it, and it is coming to us. The captain has declared, just split of a second, we are turning back, going back to the helipad. We went back to the helipad. We decided if we don't get accommodation, we will stay in the helicopter. We will do night halt in the helicopter. And to our surprise, one more helicopter was coming and landing at the same helipad. He was coming through the same valley. We have asked him, how did you come? He says there was no black wall like that, and I'm planning to go back. And we both went back. So what I mean to say is, we have to give respect to the valley weather, and at the same time, it is beyond the imagination of the crew and the capability of the machine. If we have such circumstance, you take a safe call. Peculiarity of landing and precautionary landing without any hesitation. So nobody like press, all social media, not to worry. Once we were going for positioning of PM's helicopter in a southern state, and rarely it happens, like in a place, Bhopal, we got into a bad weather. So the captain said that we were going to land next to the road. We went and landed on a little elevated place, and we waited there for about half an hour, and the weather has cleared, and we went back. So we were worried some district administration help may be required, some newspaper people will come and all. Let it come. He said that there's no problem. We'll handle that. So this is what is the reminders we have to give to our people when we fly. Then decision based on competency and skills. Sometimes everyone has got certain capabilities and limitations and certain skill levels. We used to fly very young officers in Northeast, and we used to carry something called bridging equipment, which is unimaginable in civil aviation. 15-meter long bridge is hung to the helicopter, and the helicopter carries it in the valley. A small gust will make it to move like a pendulum. It's not the bridge, it's the entire helicopter will move like a pendulum. So this is one situation where we have to do the job. But at the same time, we used to take a call that first time in the morning we do this bridging equipment underslung, because that time the winds are less. And subsequently the winds will pick up, because they expect us to take rest in the afternoon. Afternoon the winds will pick up, and subsequent sorties we do only the internal load sorties. So these kind of decisions, I'm just giving an example, but it can be anything else. So the crew are the best judges to take a call, how to go about it. When we have to say no, just say no. Nobody is going to force. Nothing less than a prime minister, we rejected the sortie after a proper planning from a place called Jaipur, Chennai, and he went by road. The decision of captain is respected. We have to get this respect by giving our decisions. The stability and control of helicopter, as I was mentioning earlier, because even I have not understood it completely. Some of my COs who are test pilots tried to teach us, but it is beyond the average chap's imagination. Let us not get into a situation where it may be not impossible, but it is difficult to recover. So let us not get into, let us underestimate our capabilities, and we do a safe flying. Audacity is required for military flying, but for civil flying, you be very careful. We will get definitely good pilots whether to do in civil or in military, but the audacity unnecessarily is not required to be forced ourselves in normal civil flying. The preventive measures. The first recommendation which we have given is the improvement of helipad infrastructure. Especially whenever I was interacting with the people who are on the ground during my interaction after last 2-3 accidents, the civil pilots, they have been complaining that whenever they go for such type of rural area commitments, the helicopter is a crowd puller for election meeting. Sorry, sir, you are here. Okay, so helicopters are booked so that the crowd will also come. Okay, so it becomes a bit difficult job for them. And the helipads are also constructed over the night by limited resources, people with limited knowledge. And they do not know the complications and implications of what the helipad can do in case of any bad thing happens. Okay, the dust storms, we enter into the ground, dust will come up. Okay, we will enter into the bowl. And if it is not properly leveled or if it is not properly toughened, so the helicopter is likely to sink. Okay, so these kind of things are to be prevented. And since the policyholder and the top man here is available, even the disaster relief people were also available yesterday, sir. We should have one heliport at every 100 kilometers in the entire country. So the heliport should have radio communication, one police post, one basic windsock, okay, and maybe a stage for conducting various meetings. So the meetings can be conducted next to the helipad, which doesn't make any obstruction for this heliport. So these kind of heliports we should come so that the facility will increase, and the same grounds can be utilized for playing by the children in normal days, and it can be used as a platform where during the disaster relief the people can come and stand, and the helicopters will go and pick up from there. It becomes much easier, and we can also do the relief operations very easily. We can position the MET and police teams at the humanitarian disaster relief sites. As I was mentioning earlier, so the pilot should be relieved from this kind of who has to board the aircraft and who should not load and what should be loaded, what should not be loaded. He should be concentrating only on the operation side of it. So the entire human aspect should be left to the local teams. We have got very good teams available and we can train them. Volunteers are also available so that the pilots can concentrate on the operations. Because most of the time his mind is bothered actually. Somebody who has got some influence, he will try to come and board the aircraft and you can't say no for it. So these kind of things can be avoided. Let the administration and everybody decide who has to come. The pilot only takes the number of people who are manifested and he will safely fly the aircraft. So this is again, I am calling it as a faceless operation. Like in case of a transport aircraft, the pilot, he doesn't know who is going to fly in that aircraft other than some VVIP is on board. So the entire manifesting has been done and he is given the load chart and he will just take off. So similar thing we have to institute for helicopters also. By the way, these recommendations have been given to our secretary and some of the things we are already working on that. And we have constituted an advisory team led by Air Marshal Butola. He is the most renowned pilot in India as of now. He is a test pilot and we have flown together in Russia also. So his ideas we are taking and he is the team leader. And maintenance, last 30 years I have been there in Air Force maintaining this aircraft, and we have nominated one aviation psychologist, Dr. Kuhu Ganguly. She is with DRDO. For the first time we interacted on 30th of September and 1st of October at Mumbai. Our secretary has said that let all the offshore operators participate. It's not only for the Pawan Hans. And we are thankful to Pawan Hans and CMD Pawan Hans for hosting us there. And it was very good interaction and very heartwarming feedback has come. And we have started working on those feedbacks. So we called it as a positive safety culture workshop. And we are going to conduct at least every 6 months in a year so that the feedback can be given to our ministry for implementation. As I was mentioning, the historical data, somehow we are not good at maintaining the history, let us accept. So the historical data, if you ask how many aircraft were registered in 2001, 99, 90, 84, it's not readily available. So this historical data, we are, of course, it is with ministry only, DGCA is going to implement that. Make, model, operator, how many hours they have flown, what is the accident rate and all we will calculate, and we will also come out with the preventive measures. So accident investigation is not only investigation, my role is also to do accident prevention. There is a great scope for helicopters in India. Like yesterday, General Atta Hassan has mentioned that we have a scope for about 800 helicopters. I say that there will be more than 800, at least 2,000 helicopters are required. Airbus has realized that business model, and they have come up with assembly plant in India. So if you see the Asia Pacific region, so we stand very, very below. The affluence is increasing, the law enforcement, and then the disaster relief operations, and we need a lot of helicopters in civil aviation. So the OEMs are here, so you have to take the cues, and you have to come up with so many plans. And we need training also. So right now, the helicopter training is not a very lucrative thing. So we have to come up with helicopter training, which is to be made lucrative, so that the boys and girls can join. Okay. So it is only possible with OEMs. If the OEM is trying to sell some aircraft, and that aircraft training center has to be established in India. So then what happens is, there are people available. Like if you want to buy any vehicle, you look at whether servicing centers are available or not. And similarly, maybe I am not so rich, but maybe a big man, when he want to buy some car, he may think for a suitable driver also. So similarly, we have to get the skilled manpower for maintenance, operations, and which the OEMs only can pick up in the initial stage. And subsequently, the market will look into it. It will take its own course of action. India has got a very good position in the offshore. Like you can see in the 2, 3, and the last position also. We have very good offshore operators in India, Global Vectra, Pawan Hans, and Heligo. Okay. So the accidents and reasons which have been happening, they are common across all the operators. We have to take measures to arrest these particular reasons and prevent the accidents. And our ministry at top level is pro reforms. We are ready to do anything good for the system. And I am available for discussing about all these 25 accidents which I have mentioned about. All these 25 accidents were thoroughly studied by us, and these accident reports are available in our website. Whatever we do, they are transparent, they are available in our website, AAIB website. You can learn from that. We are going to increase its presence by making it more dynamic. So with this, I have concluded, sir. Thank you very much.